The room is small and late with laughter that comes from tired people who don't want to go home yet. You choose a chair near the window and let others braid talk. You're listening the way a dog listens, steady, a little apart, holding stories without rocking them. When you finally offer one clean sentence, someone smirks. So quiet tonight. Arrogant or just bored? The laugh lands. The old reflex rises. You feel the tug to explain yourself back into a shape they understand. Silence is not a verdict. It's a laboratory. In the quiet, the mixture clears and the useful elements separate. You're not withholding. You're measuring. Your breath, the temperature of the room, the cost of adding heat. Noise calls this distance indifference because it can't see the work silence is doing. You are saving the good words for when they can carry. Bring Jung like a night lamp on a desk. Misunderstood energy doesn't need performance. It needs a window. He'd ask what in you the room cannot see, and what in them they hope you'll carry. He'd remind you that projection is a kind of pleading, dressed as certainty. They're telling you more about their hunger than about your height. There's a difference between aura and persona. Aura is the felt weather that surrounds you when you're not trying, the gravity of your attention, the tone of your nervous system, the steadiness people lean toward. Persona is the mask you choose for errands, useful, courteous, adjustable. Aura is a climate. Persona is clothing. You can be warm without a costume and change jackets without changing seasons. The tension is simple. Others project, you absorb. They throw frames over you to make you readable. You take them off in private so you breathe. If you keep absorbing without naming, you'll carry rooms home in your bones. But naming gives you back your limbs. They wanted pace, I offered sense. They wanted banter, I offered space. The misread stops being an injury and becomes an advantage. While they spend fuel on judging, you're conserving for decisions. Let the night have the last word tonight. You don't owe a performance. You owe a presence. Keep the window, keep the lamp, keep the pulse you brought. If they choose a mask for you, thank it for the hint and hand it back. Aura is the felt weather around you, the climate people sense before you speak. Tone, tempo, and intention make its pressure system. Some bring trade winds, steady carrying. Some bring the cool of a shaded porch. Your aura is not magic. It's the honest broadcast of your nervous system. How you breathe, where your eyes rest, how quickly you reach for words. It's the promise you make without a sentence. The reason rooms quiet or quicken when you arrive. You don't manufacture it. You maintain it by rest, attention, and honesty. Persona is clothing helpful and chosen. It's the jacket you put on for a pitch, the shoes for a funeral, the handshake that keeps the gears from grinding. Useful, courteous, protective, and not your bones. When the jacket fits the weather, it's service. When the jacket becomes your skin, you stop feeling rain and forecasts replace experience. Persona lowers friction. Aura carries meaning. Mix them with care. There is no shame in having a mask. You shaped it to belong. It worked until you grew. Masks are crafted from kindness and survival, from sharp observation and the wish to spare others. The cost appears when the costume starts steering. You begin answering before you've listened. You confuse being understandable with being understood. Your calendar fills with yeses the aura never consented to, and the body pays with a tiredness that sleep can't fix. The mask earns applause. The person wants air. Think of readability versus accuracy. Readability makes you easy to place. The cheerful one, the fixer, the steady pair of hands. Accuracy keeps you intact. A pace that protects judgment, a no that preserves the yes that matters. A humor that doesn't turn against you. Readability helps strangers feel safe. Accuracy helps you stay true. You can be both, but not if the costume refuses to take a seat when the soul needs the chair. So practice a small distinction. Before you enter, check your weather, not just your outfit. Ask, what am I broadcasting? What is useful to wear and what can I lay down tonight? Let the aura set the season. Let persona dress for it. When the bones decide, the clothing serves and never silently substitutes for the self. This is not mystical. It is practical attention to atmosphere, the quiet physics of presence. People feel it immediately. Next, how people end up reading themselves on you. People don't see you as you are. They see you as a mirror for the pieces they haven't met. Jung called it projection, but you don't need the term to feel it. Picture a person carrying unclaimed traits like unopened mail, anger they never read, ambition they pretend isn't theirs, tenderness they're scared to display. When they meet you, they outsource that mail. Your calm becomes their story about passivity. Your boundaries become their headline about coldness. Your focus becomes their accusation. A small story. A manager once labeled your quiet passive in a meeting. You didn't bite. You asked for specifics, finished your notes and shipped the plan. Weeks later, after a sprint that smoked the team, the same manager confessed over coffee. I was anxious and needed you to hurry with me. Your pace made me feel exposed. There it was, not your flaw, their fear. Names change. The pattern stays. We meet others in the rooms we keep locked. If we exile our anger, we hunt for it in someone else's face. If we hide our longing, we call another person needy. If we bury our authority, we resent those who stand upright. Projection is a protective habit that misplaces ownership. It buys momentary relief by renting your surface for its billboard. There's also transference energy, which is a phrase for old feelings hitching a ride on new people. A teammate reminds us of a parent. A boss echoes a coach. Affection, suspicion, defiance, already rehearsed, now placed where they don't belong. None of this requires villainy. It only requires inattention. Relief begins when you stop taking every label as data about your worth and start treating it as data about their weather. Test the claim. Ask a clean question. Offer a fact. Let silence show whose story is speaking. You're not required to swallow borrowed feelings to be generous. You can stand steady and see clearly. Patterns point to the projector, not the screen. Keep your pace. Let facts set the furniture. Watch for repetition. Misreadings arrive in loops. The same adjectives from different mouths. The same request to speed up when speed will break the work. The same suspicion when you choose boundaries. Patterns reveal projection. Accidents scatter. The more you notice, the less you bend to prove yourself intelligible. You start saving that energy for what is real. Watch for 7 repeatable signs. They're patterns, not accidents. It starts on a Monday call when the grid of faces feels like a chessboard. You're quiet for a beat, letting the pieces arrange. You're tracking dependencies, mapping who needs what from whom. Someone mistakes your pause for judgment and escalates in the chat. If you've got concerns, say them. Heat rises without fuel. You inhale, name the work your mind is doing, and let the room exhale with you. I'm accounting for risks and owners, you say, still even. Give me 30 seconds to finish the map. The mist clears. The escalation folds itself back into patience. The second sign arrives after hours, cloaked as urgency. A message pings. Quick favor, can you turn this by midnight? You feel the old reflex warm your fingers. You've trained yourself to be agreeable, even when the debt comes due tomorrow. Tonight you practice hospitality to your future self. I'm offline now, you reply, and can deliver a strong draft by 10. The sender tries once, then accepts. In the morning, the work is better, your pulse is human, and the ask arrives next time with lead time attached. The third sign wears a smile. In a tense meeting, you listen closely, reflect the speaker's worry, and test the edges of the problem out loud. Because they feel seen, they assume consent. Great, so you're on board, they conclude, already divvying tasks. You keep the warmth and add a line that draws shape around it. I understand why it matters. I don't agree that this is the move. Here's what I can support, and here's what I can't. Mirroring is not endorsing. Empathy gathers facts. Agreement commits resources. Each reframe preserves your peace while protecting the work. You don't spend yourself proving that your pause is benevolence. Your boundary is love. Your empathy is discernment. You let cadence teach it. A consistent tempo becomes a legend on the map. Dots, dashes, scale. People learn that your quiet is a draft being written. Your no is a promise kept later. Your listening is a light that helps them see rather than a leash that ties you to their plan. Watch how respect collects in the pauses you refuse to fill. Deadlines run cleaner, favors shrink to size, and the temperature of days drops to breathable. Keep this posture. The subtler signs will meet you with relief. The next 4 signs are subtler and more freeing. Sometimes the slow answer looks like doubt to someone living by speed. You pause, the room leans in, and a clock starts performing. Let it. Precision takes a beat to arrive. Performance can sprint without luggage. You choose a sentence that will still be true tomorrow, not applause right now. When you speak, the edges are clean and the decision stops wobbling. That isn't insecurity. That's stewardship of meaning under pressure. Stay steady. Directness can land like aggression to ears tuned to hints. You name the risk, ask for evidence, or draw a line around scope, and someone flinches. You didn't raise heat. You removed fog. Clarity without music can sound sharp to rushed listeners. Add 1 measure of tone. I'm for the goal, so here's the blunt part, and you'll hear shoulders drop. The point stays plain. The room keeps its dignity. Independence wears labels from a distance. You prefer to self-source, read the docs, solve the small knot before convening a parade. To some, that looks like aloofness, as if you don't need anyone. In truth, you're protecting the group from meetings that could have been quiet work. You return with something testable, then ask for eyes. Self-reliance is not antisocial. It's respect for time as a common asset. Calm in heat is often mistaken for not caring. Fire alarms expect flailing. When you don't, the story writes itself. But you are regulating so others can think. Your pulse becomes the metronome the room keeps time to. You gather facts, sequence moves, and keep words few. Afterward, people call it luck. You know it as practiced breath doing its job, lowering the decibel so judgment can find the door. Across these signs, the pattern repeats. Sensitive, deliberate people are readable as threats in cultures that prize speed, noise, and constant display. Reframes help you hold ground without hardening. Say less and name what your silence is doing. State boundaries as hospitality to futures you intend to inhabit. Pair directness with care. Let independence serve, not separate. Protect calm as a public good, not a personal performance. Do you correct misreads or let them stand? The cost matters. Some labels wash off in your consistent weather. Others stain if worn too long. Choose your moments like a craftsman choosing where to sand and where to leave the tool marks. We'll weigh the trade next, so your energy goes to building, not explaining. You spend an afternoon chasing a rumor like smoke through rooms without windows. A colleague heard you're leaving. Another swears you killed a project. A third says you've checked out. You draft careful messages, schedule clarifying chats, pull timelines and notes and motives into neat stacks. By evening, you've explained yourself into a smaller shape, and nothing material has moved. The rumor molts and keeps walking. Your energy, gone. The work that matters, waiting with its hand raised, patient and unseen. Every explanation spends authority. The more you sell your innocence, the cheaper it starts to sound. There is a cost to polishing every mirror in town. You stop building the house those mirrors face. People who wanted a story still want their story. People who wanted facts already had them. Try a model. Signal versus salvage. Signal is what you broadcast by doing real work at a humane tempo. steady delivery, clean decisions, the temperature of your breath. Salvage is the rescue mission you launch when misunderstanding sparks, threads, sidebars, postmortems of gossip. Signal compounds. Salvage consumes. Put your hours where compounding lives. Use a rule that protects both pulse and map. Correct for impact, not for image. If a misread will bend a decision, confuse a customer, mispay a team or harm a person, correct it once cleanly in the channel where outcomes change. If it only dents your shine, let time and output polish it while you work. Choose one public note over 20 whispers. Choose a record over a performance. Choose clarity that travels. Before you speak, check the motive. Are you steadying the work or trying to feel liked again? Are you protecting a colleague or chasing relief from the sting of being misunderstood? The first deserves your voice. The second can be answered by silence and a paragraph tomorrow that moves the project one square forward. In calm cultures, explanations are short. In anxious ones, explanations breed. Be the first kind. You can choose which mirrors deserve polishing. Clean the ones facing the road your team must walk. Metrics, briefs, visible commitments. Leave dusty the ones hung inside corridors for passing drama. People learn by your allocation. They notice you measure breadth before reputation. They tune to your steadiness because it saves them time. There's a short practice to steady your aura before you speak. 2 minutes, 3 steps, and a doorway you can carry anywhere tonight. We'll use it soon. The hallway is late and mostly empty, carpet holding the day like a low tide. A faint pool of light waits outside the elevator. A private lantern for whoever needs a softer minute. You step into it and feel the warmth climb your forearms. The building hums like a sleeping animal. Somewhere a door sighs closed. Somewhere a printer finishes a thought. You aren't hiding. You're gathering. 3 moves small enough to keep in a pocket. Breathe, name intent, choose tempo. First, breathe. Let air travel lower than usual. Down where your ribs remember being human. Count 4 in, pause 2, leave on 6. Do it again until your shoulders drop and your jaw unclenches without being asked. The light seems to thicken as if agreeing. Second, name intent. Whisper it if it helps. What are you here to do? Steady the meeting, protect the boundary, ask for the true thing without theater. Pick one phrase and let it sit in the lantern's circle. Clarify without heat. Protect the team's pace. Tell the truth and stay kind. If your mind reaches for applause, notice and let it pass like a train you're not boarding. Own your weather before you share it. Third, choose tempo. The room ahead will try to sell you speed. Set your metronome now. Decide how slowly you'll begin. Where silence will land, what first question will open the window to facts. Imagine your words moving like water, not sparks. If someone pushes, imagine offering a railing instead of a shove. The senses seal the ritual. Feel the seam of shoe and floor. Smell the clean heat of the bulb. Let your tongue rest against the roof of your mouth. Notice the exact grain of quiet here. Thinner near the vents, thicker near the stairwell. Time stretches just enough for your nervous system to catch you. You step out of the light and carry its circle with you. Nothing outside has changed. You will be the change. Your presence enters the room first, walking a half step ahead of whatever you will say. People feel the weather you curated and lean into it because it costs them nothing and gives them breath. You do less and more happens. Use it in elevators, kitchens, thresholds, even the car. 2 minutes is enough to return to yourself before anyone asks for you back. The comment lands in a hallway between meetings. A colleague stops, arms folded, voice quietly loaded. You're distant lately. In another season, you would have hurried to prove otherwise, laying out timestamps, emojis, late-night replies. Instead, you breathe. The lantern circle still warm on your ribs and let the first gust pass without moving. Pace first, then words. You reflect one fact, the kind that requires no debate. I've answered slower this month. Your tone carries steadiness, not apology. Then you state one intent. so the vector is visible. I'm protecting the team's quality and my own clarity. Finally, one clean question opens the window to specifics. Where did it bite? 3 small moves. The air changes color. The hallway's hum returns. Urgency loses its posture. They exhale. The Friday ping sat overnight. You nod once. Right. I chose Saturday morning for a full read. You add a next step that anchors care to action. If a blocker can't wait, flag red. I'll adapt within the hour. Otherwise, I'll keep batching replies so nothing gets shallow. The shoulders across from you loosen at the shape of a rule. You didn't sell yourself. You set furniture. Others drift into earshot. Your breathing stays even, and the circle widens. Someone chimes in, batching helped my focus too. The conversation tilts from accusation to design. Calendar blocks appear. The temperature drops to workable. You summarize once briefly. Slower to answer, truer when I do. Emergencies get the fast lane. Everything else rides the train. Heads nod because the cadence is understandable and fair. This is how correction sounds without performance. You didn't rush to repaint their picture of you. You adjusted the lighting so everyone could see the table. Calm reads as care when it is tethered to action. A regulated pulse, a factual mirror, a single intent, and one question that invites evidence. These do more than a tray of explanations. Respect climbs because your pace saves everyone's time. You part with a small grin, not for victory but for fit. The room you'll walk into next already feels quieter. Your presence will arrive first, carrying the lantern's rhythm. The work will follow without stumbling. Misreads will still happen, but the cost won't. You will choose which mirrors to clean and which to let dust settle on. Keep it handy in pocket, simple, unadorned, ready always. Here is the sentence, small enough to carry and strong enough to stand in heat. Let's slow to facts and next steps. Say it like you're straightening a frame, not defending yourself. No edge, no theater, only a calm invitation to the ground everyone forgot. It doesn't argue with labels. It gives the room something better to do. Picture the stand-up fraying. Updates blur, a rumor darts across chat and someone sharpens a question into a jab. The group's pulse spikes. Voices overlap. Eyes search for a villain. You breathe down to your belly and place the line on the table. Let's slow to facts and next steps. Oxygen returns. A developer names the failing tests. Another proposes a rollback behind a flag. The loudest voice lowers because clarity does not compete. Leadership is the measure of your nervous system. When yours cools, other minds can hear themselves again. When yours races, the building learns your panic and calls it truth. The sentence works because it borrows its strength from your breath. Speak it on an exhale and let silence do half the labor. Jung would nod at the move. You are not swatting away projections. You are naming them a seat away from your face. Beneath distance sits their fear of being left alone. Beneath arrogance sits their wish you would dance to their tempo. When you slow to facts and next steps, the image they threw at you becomes information about them. Not handcuffs on you. Use it everywhere you expect heat in reports. In hallway ambushes. In late messages at home. Same tone each time. Plain, kindly, unhurried. With repetition, people anticipate the rhythm and arrive with evidence instead of spectacle. With repetition, your body learns the route from sting to stance, and the line becomes less a tool than a habit of mind. Practice compounding into identity is quiet work. You will correct less and build more. Rooms will read you more accurately because you keep giving them a trustworthy pace to copy. And when misreadings flare, you won't trade your center to tidy their story. You'll host the work and let results translate. You start noticing how days get simpler without getting smaller. Fewer explanations required. Fewer detours to polish mirrors that don't change the road. Meetings land on time. Messages lose their emergency costumes. The work deepens like water left undisturbed. You can see where to place a stone and watch the circles travel. People begin answering the question you actually asked. You speak once and hear the echo arrive as action instead of debate. Clarity makes room for patience. Patience makes outcomes durable. Depth replaces hurry quietly. Return to the room where your quiet once wore the wrong name. The same faces, the same table, a new rhythm. Someone who used to rush now pauses when you pause. Another brings facts unprompted, expecting your one clean question. Misread still attempt a cameo, but the scene no longer belongs to them. The room recalibrates by instinct, because your weather has been steady long enough to trust. You didn't shrink to fit their map. You held shape until the map improved. Keep a gentle charge. Before you reply, stand in the lantern for one breath longer than comfort. Name intent in 6 words or fewer. Choose a humane tempo and let silence do some of the carrying. Before the meeting, walk the portico, breath, naming, aim. Before sleep, open the night window a finger wide and let the day hand back what it borrowed from your nerves. Nothing dramatic. Tiny hinges, large doors. You are becoming legible without sanding off your edges. Your pace teaches. Your boundaries tutor. Your questions make work honest. People grow easier around you because you make thinking safe. The tribe that moves at a human tempo recognizes you by how you protect mornings, finish sentences, and leave enough air in the day for judgment to return. You belong without bargaining away the parts that keep you whole. Hold your weather. The world will adjust its coat. Some will still prefer noise, let them. You will carry a sentence for fires and a calm that travels, and those who value steadiness will find you by the way rooms settle after you speak. That's the promise and the practice. Fewer explanations, clearer days, deeper work, and the relief of being recognized without performing for it. If this feels like home, keep walking with us. Bring your breath and your lamp. We'll keep the pace that lets truth arrive on time.